Good morning, beautiful family in the light. Let's make sure this is going on. Is this live? Yeah, it's live. We are all live. Good morning, beautiful family in the light.
Good morning.
So much love to all of you after yesterday's 9/9 Gateway. Trusting each of you have walked through that gateway of 9/9 and you're on the other side of it and you're sitting like us today in this vibration of light, in this new octave of light, and there's wisdom to be shared. So we just wanted to come on real quick and just have a little heart-to-heart in yesterday, dedicating the day to us. In the message that I posted yesterday, it was 7 years has been dedicated to the planetary mission, to the planetary assignment on the land, especially in Europe, the last 7 years during this September, particularly this specific gateway, the gateway of completion. And it means a lot to me, this one. And of course, with all the changes in 2020 and the launch in this September month, we have several launches, especially the launch of the Sacred Divine Union interview series that starts on Monday with our first guest, Rob and Ron. And we both felt the most important devotion was to the inner divine union within ourselves and the union that we share. So yesterday, we just took off in being offline and dedicating it to sit in this gateway of completion and really discussing what is, in the most real, raw way, what is completing within ourselves individually from our ascension flame, and what is it within our union that is completely completing. The doors have to be closed.
And it was so valuable for us to really take the time to really sit within our own hearts, to listen to one another, to heart one another, and to really feel the energy from each other and what is being expressed. What are the needs? What are the areas that are really here to bring as much light, bring as much love and value in our highest divinity? And it was very powerful because we had this moment to really just be as completely present as we could possibly be in what we lost track of, a 5-hour conversation that I feel is important to bring such awareness to, because it gives the depth of even the areas where it may not feel comfortable, areas that may be hidden, areas that one may see about another that they don't see, and just really bringing the truth and the transparency
in
of
that
it
raw,
in
real
that raw
way.
and real way. And what I felt being in a clear, honorable, respective communication.
Yeah, so we after breakfast, we put literally our back seats here and we began going into it and discussing what were the areas within ourselves that we had really completed. Like we just completed, we're done with it. It has no place to go forward anymore. And like one of my posts I had shared, there's that the energy of war in me had come to its end, that I don't have to fight for my right anymore. I do not have to stand up for my right anymore. And just really ending that. And one of the areas for you was?
Well, I feel like one of the most important areas for me is really to shine on the areas of where I block my own areas within my limitation. For example, if I want to do something and there's limitations within myself of not creating that action. And that can be numerous things. If it's whether I'm tired, whether there is environmental effects, whether there is emotional, physical, or mental obstructions, to recognize that and draw awareness to it so that my wanting, my creations, the will, and my motivation is not being blocked by 3D limitations so that I can fully be crystal clear in what it is that I like to create.
So we had conversations around this yesterday. We went through individually that personal responsibility, what had come to its closure, the time had come to just close this and thank it and appreciate it, and just it doesn't carry on to today and forward. So we went through that, and then we went through raw, real within each other. What are the areas that we feel has to evolve, and we really call it out and communicate it from the most loving place, and then also go into the areas that is very difficult to talk about, but really dare to have courage to communicate it, dare to have courage to heart it, dare to have courage to listen, dare to have courage to voice it. And so it was 5 hours later. We were so tired and yet so grateful because the weather provided it with its rain. And then after that, we took some time off. After the full conversation, then we knew we had to do a ceremony.
And before we go to the ceremony, I just want to express to all those that are listening the value of clear, open-hearted communication.
Yeah.
It is so vital that one can really take the time to honor themselves and their beloved and ones that are in their field, to share what it is within our hearts, within ourselves, to fully, clearly communicate. Communication, really, I see, is one of the biggest roots of disharmony, or when things move out of alignment. And the healing begins when we're able to communicate in our most authentic, true, real, and raw form. And I just want to take that moment just to express the importance of it, the necessity of it, and really what I feel in this time, our nature of sharing that in a way that really shows up in every aspect, in every relationship that we have within ourselves, within divinity, and most important, with our dearest loved ones in our life.
Because that communication is first that inner communication, that you can no longer withhold this deep truth that is coming, that is in, and you have to voice it. So it was a perfect day yesterday. It just couldn't have been perfect, right here in our living room, right this spot. And
the
from
rain,
there,
and the rain to be there to transform, and the ability for us to really hold each other in that highest light of love.
Yeah, I mean, just so much love, to really communicate from love. And it was so important because of the launch of our Sacred Divine Union interview series. The ones that have been in this, how do they go through their union and the experiences they have? So, we do help other couples quite a bit, others that are just coming in, and we really draw the wisdom from that in which we've directly experienced, and to support the ascension, the flame of ascension for the planetary ascension. So yesterday, then we took off in the afternoon, so each of us individually then writing a list of these doors that we are willing and ready to completely shut under this 9-9 Mastery Gateway. So as we then walk through the 9-9 hall, that we are closing this so we can be on the other side of it and literally be bathed in the ascension flames of light to start today. So it was so beautiful. Last night, then I created a heart altar here with roses, and brought the sage and Palo Santos and set up a few things here for us, and brought the flame, the heart flame, and the lighter, and we both showed up, which was very important in a union where two individuals both are willing and ready to do their part. They take the personal responsibility and choosing. It is a conscious choice. So I wrote my list, you wrote your list, and we presented that list in front of each other and in front of Almighty, on behalf of Divine and our entire team, what are we willing and ready to close in this energy of 9, the month of 9 that is supporting us, and this 9 gateway double, which is the sacred divine feminine, sacred divine masculine within our own individual self, so that we can then call in the transmuting flame and sort of chant it out that this is transmuted, and let the fire burn it off. So as I did that, what was happening for you? You were what, witnessing?
Well, I just felt like it was this beautiful feeling of witnessing you and also witnessing me, this sense of accountability, like this beautiful nature of when we can just take a step and really express within us, what are we willing to let go? And for me to feel that,
because earlier we said we let go, but you have to put it into action. This was the guided take it into the action.
And for me, it brings such this beautiful love, this love and respect, that when I hear my beloved express that, it's like I'm here to hold that in the highest love. And for me to witness that within our own accountability, it's hard to describe in words. It's just this feeling of like grace and maturity and divinity that's being brought forward, because I know within my heart, this is not just for me, this is for Honey, this is for our divine union, but even deeper, this is for the collective. And so it was just rejuvenating, and it brought so much light, because honestly, sitting in 5 hours and talking through things that sometimes are very difficult, very challenging, even for myself, to go into areas that may be hard for me, not only to hear what I'm hearing, but also expressing things that are difficult for me. So to take that time to really listen and feel and hear, it just brought this joy of like, wow, how powerful it is to be in a state that we can really, really listen and hear with love. And that love, when you were reading it, it just gave me this feeling of light, this feeling of exuberance within me, of this connection that was like, this is sacred, this is ceremonial, this is what is really necessary for us to come together and share this, because it's so important to express what is within us that we're willing to close, and to have someone say that directly across from you. It's truly, you're being a witness of their salvation.
Witness to each other, and is that you
Maturity,
showing up. It is that maturity, and when you then shared your words, the doors in your invocation, and you called it in, and as I was witnessing it, I felt so much gratitude that you are showing up, you're taking the responsibility, and you're choosing to let go, because a lot of times we want to let go, but we don't put it into action form, in an invocation form, in a ceremonial form, so it can actually take place, because we just say it in the mental mind, and it doesn't work that way. It has to be brought into an action form. That's why we're in the human form, that action is very important. And so it felt so beautiful when you said that, and it was so funny to watch how your list was burning very slowly, not completely, and I was just internally laughing.
I was holding it, and the flame caught very high, so I placed, because we had a pan and we're inside of an apartment, so it was in a pan, and then we put water underneath it, so when it got hot, I dropped it and it was in the water. I'm like, uh-oh, let me put it up.
But it was perfect, because he had a bigger list that he had to what, and I felt very grateful for that. And
did you see how persistent I was?
And I just stayed quiet as he just tried to, and he attempted to burn it, and it was wonderful. And then we went to bed, and I woke up in a new state. I can feel the transformation. I can feel the transfiguration. I can feel the doors that were closed, and this hallway. I went through the hallway with individually and with you, and we are on the other side. So now we can open all these other doors, and these other doors that do await us, so that we can bring the higher goods from the heavenly realm into here by these loose ends that had to be closed.
You know what's really inspiring about this is I feel that sometimes there's so much to do in the day.
Yeah.
There's so much activity. There's so much stimulation. Call it what you want. There's just a lot of energy pouring through in a day. And I find when we can take recognition and acknowledgement of such sacredness for us to expand, to ascend in the areas that we are looking within ourselves, and then illuminate that by expressing it outward to the one you love most, is such an honor.
Or if you're within yourself,
Yeah.
to yourself,
Right.
to yourself in front of a mirror, right?
And it's such an honor. I felt like it was this, like almost like a graduation day. It felt like
it did feel that way.
Yeah, and what I appreciated was like, does it really take a 9-9 gateway, which is extremely important,
It was
extremely
very
profound,
important.
but then it gave me the idea of like, wow, the things that sometimes we want to get rid of, the old paradigm is like, well, we have to work, we have to meditate, we have to journey, we have to hit our shadow, we have to transform it. And yes, divine timing is beautiful, but at the same time, what power do we have by literally writing it down, burning it, where it could be something daily, weekly, monthly, just to start acknowledging, what is it that I want to burn? What is it that I want to close? Because it's like this freedom that I felt within that was giving the permission to say, I release this. I let this go for the highest good of all. And to me, it's like, it's completely refreshing to allow and say thank you, because we know that we were surrounded by our team of angels, our masters, the direction. So it's one element to do it for ourselves and my beloved and in each other's beloved nature, but to have it held in a ceremonial way where we do have the supporting team around us really gives us the permission to say, here it is. Now thank you for lifting this off and releasing it, because we're being brought into our highest nature to fully give that permission of that witness of our I am presence, and then have the witness of God before us complete that action in what I find is one of the most powerful ways of using our sacred flame and fire to fully transmute it.
And I feel that 9-9 major gateway, and for me this was one of the parts, like for so many years it's been of service to the planetary call and this planetary assignment and on the land. And usually some of these major ones, you and I are on the land somewhere, but I felt that there was nowhere more important than this presence, like really this presence. This space we're in 2020, we have to bring all of ourselves, all parts of ourselves in here, and we cannot bring the whole higher self in if these things are in our field. We have to shut the doors. And then too often as light workers, it is much easier to be on the land somewhere to do the work with our team than the real work which is in here, because this is the one often denied. And sometimes we do the work, but we're not willing to go into the real depth that we need to go, because it is uncomfortable. But if we give ourselves, we create this space, we give ourselves by the power of our own divine love, our own holy Christ itself, our own mighty I am presence, to go in it and communicate from there, and to allow what is within the field be brought into light so the doors can't shut. It's a gift. Not only we give to ourselves, we really give it to all humanity, because anytime we do the work within, we're doing it for all humanity. So there is no greater time than that, and especially this September closing. The whole 9 is a closure energy. And what are you willing and ready to close? Because once you're willing and once you're ready, then you're signaling the universal field, I'm ready for my next phase. But you cannot do that if you don't take that torch and light your own ascension flame and light the debris yourself to give the power completely back to yourself. And when we are in a union, we have that responsibility to show up in each other's presence in that naked truth and totally embody that. So we as witnesses of each other, we then walk together. We still have to do our individual work, so then our flame becomes larger for the next phase of its work. It is another initiation.
And I love what you said, honey. There is this feeling of personal empowerment because of that. What is there that has been blocking or limiting or distracting is now being dispelled, so that higher presence of energy can expand into all the gifts, into all the just beautiful energies that are here to share, to illuminate, to radiate. And I want to really bring forth the message that, you know, honey and I are very fortunate that we had each other, yet at the same time know that each of you individually can still hold this ceremony with yourself by being in a place that you create an altar, create a sacred ceremony, bring the elements, bring the fire, and voice out what you want to express. Invite in sacred decree of who is here to support that and to burn that so that it is available to everyone in the nature. It is beautiful that honey and I can express this in our divine union as well.
And it is an evolved state, because we have also gone through the difficult time where we cannot hurt each other, and it comes from anger and frustration, right. And those are all part of it. And so with this 9-9, I feel like we really completed a powerful gateway, and it could not have been more perfect right here, right now. The devotion to ourselves and our